Welcome again to Circuit Buddy. Today we will be discussing about the rest of the lecture on cell membrane. So keep watching the video till the end so that you can understand the full topic, okay? So first of all, let me recap what I have told you earlier. So first of all, it was the fluid mosaic model that was proposed in 1972 by Singer and Nicholson. In this model, I have told you that the membrane proteins actually are embedded within the lipid bilayer like mosaic. That's why we call it mosaic model. And as the lipid molecules can move from one place to another, okay, so it is actually showing fluidity, fluid nature. So we call it fluid mosaic model. And these are the polar head groups, these are the non-polar tail groups that are present, and these phospholipid molecules are actually arranged in two leaflets, and the composition of the leaflet is different from each other. For example, I gave you a very simple trick, that was coma. That means when a person is in coma, he is out of the real world, so he cannot communicate with others. So out means outer membrane. So it's a small trick which will help you to memorize which phospholipid is present in which leaflet. Okay. So first of all, co means choline and ma means myelin, sphingomyelin. So let me tell you this again. Here you can see that this term will help you to memorize which phospholipid is present in which leaflet. So first of all, it is in the outer monolayer, C for phosphatidylcholine and Ma for sphingomyelin. And there is another term which is exercise, which I have told you earlier. So in this lockdown situation, we have to stay inside our homes. Okay. So in order to be fit, we have to exercise regularly inside our home. Okay. So exercise inside, so it means inner leaflet. Okay. So it is actually a very important trick which will help you to memorize which phospholipid is present in the inner leaflets. So E for phosphatidyl ethanolamine, PE, and we have I, so I for phosphatidyl inositol, and we have S, that means phosphatidyl serine. So these are the various phospholipid molecules that are present in the inner leaflet of the bilayer. Okay, so you have to remember this, that phosphatidyl ethanolamine is a very important phospholipid or membrane lipid which actually promote the curvature of the bilayer. And phosphatidyl serine is also very important, because if phosphatidyl serine is present on the outer leaflet, then it can lead to cell destruction as well as blood clotting. So we have to memorize which phospholipid is present in which bilayer. So now, as we have discussed about the asymmetry of the lipid bilayer, the various types of phospholipids present in it, we will be discussing about the membrane carbohydrates. Actually, membrane carbohydrate content is actually 2 to 10%. Okay, so 2 to 10% of the lipid bilayer is actually membrane carbohydrate. And we will be talking about glycolipid and glycoprotein. Here glyco means carbohydrate, so carbohydrate, the term glyco means carbohydrate, and it is joined or attached to a lipid molecule, and that's why we call it a glycolipid molecule. Okay, so glycolipid complex. And usually these glycolipid complexes have oligosaccharide chains attached to them. Oligo means few and saccharide means sugar, so few sugar units are present in a chain, and that's why we call it oligosaccharide. So these carbohydrate moieties are oligosaccharide chains in actuality. Okay, and they are actually 15 units chain. Okay, so glycoprotein, and likewise glyco means carbohydrate. okay, and proteins means protein. So protein is attached to carbohydrate and it forms the glycoprotein, okay. So these glycoproteins and glycolipids are present in the bilayer, okay, in the generally on the outer liplet, okay. So towards the extracellular surface, because glycoproteins actually help as receptors, membrane receptors, okay. So these membrane receptors help in transducing the extracellular signals, okay, into intracellular signals. They actually convert the signals that is extracellular into intracellular, okay. One, the carbohydrate of glycolipids of the plasma membrane of RBC determines the blood type, and it is also important, okay. So the carbohydrates of glycolipids that are present on the RBC plasma membrane acts as the antigens, okay, that determines the blood type. Maybe the person is blood type A having the A antigen, or B or AB having both the antigens A and B. And what are these antigens? These are glycolipids actually. That means some carbohydrates linked to lipids, okay. So he may be O, that means 0 actually, having no antigens present on the bilayer of the RBC, okay, or red blood cells or erythrocytes. So here let us talk about membrane proteins. Membrane protein is a very important topic of cell membrane. There are generally two types of membrane proteins. First is integral proteins. Integral proteins are those proteins which actually penetrate the plasma membrane, okay, and that's why they are called transmembrane proteins, okay. So transmembrane proteins are actually amphipathic in nature. So we have discussed this term earlier, what amphipathic means. Let me take another color, okay. So amphi means both. Amphi means both, okay. So amphi means both, and pathos means region. So one is hydrophilic region, okay, and the other is hydrophobic region. And it is very easy to guess which portion would be hydrophobic. The portion that is inside the cell membrane, okay, the interior of the cell membrane is actually hydrophobic, because the interior of the lipid bilayer is hydrophobic in nature. So it is thermodynamically more suitable, okay. And there are several integral proteins present. We would be talking about them. For example, lactose permease. So lactose permease, whenever there is an ASE, you have to understand that the ASE actually tells us that this is an enzyme. For example, amylase, okay, lactase, okay, acetylase, or we have flippage, floppage. Flippage and floppages are actually the membrane translocators, actually lipid translocators that are actually carrying the lipid molecules from one leaflet to another. So that's why we call it flippage and floppage, okay. And there are other enzymes like scramblage, okay. So we will be talking about them later because it is not included in NEET syllabus. And there is another transmembrane protein, that is glycophorin A. So that is glycophorin A and lactase permease, you have to understand and remember these two examples as a very important example of transmembrane proteins, okay. So there are aquaporins also that are very important, that carry water molecules, okay, through them, and that is also aquaporin. Aqua means water, so water carrying channels are there that are also transmembrane proteins inside the cell membranes, embedded in the cell membranes. Now, peripheral membrane proteins. Peripheral membrane protein are those proteins that do not penetrate the lipid bilayer. They are actually present on either of the two sides of the cell membrane. Maybe they are on the outer liblet, or maybe they are in the inner liblet. So peripheral membrane proteins are associated with the membrane by electrostatic interactions. So they are not bound by covalent bonds. They are actually associated by electrostatic interactions. That's why they are very easy to detach, okay, from the lipid bilayer. So we can easily detach them from the lipid bilayer. And lipid anchored membrane proteins. Lipid anchored membrane proteins, actually, they are actually present on the external surface of the plasma membrane. Okay, so and they are bound to the membrane by a small complex oligosaccharide. Okay, so oligosaccharide means, let me take a color, oligosaccharide. So oligosaccharide. Okay, so linked to the molecule of phosphatidylinositol, PI. Okay, so once again I am repeating it, that there are several types of proteins on the external surface of the plasma membrane. Okay, and these proteins, these lipid anchored proteins, are actually bound to the membrane by small complex oligosaccharide. Okay, so linked to the molecule of phosphatidylinositol. Okay, so phosphatidylinositol is linked to the oligosaccharide that is embedded. So the phosphatidylinositol is embedded in the outer liblet of the lipid bilayer. Okay, and these peripheral membrane proteins, actually lipid anchored membrane proteins, are also peripheral membrane proteins. Okay, because they are actually present in the periphery of the lipid bilayer, and this type of glycosyl phosphatidylinositol linkage are called GPI anchored protein. So you have to remember this thing. Lipid anchored membrane proteins are also peripheral membrane proteins. So actually we have two types of membrane proteins. Okay, so that's all. Now factors affecting membrane fluidity. So it is a very important topic. The nature of the phospholipids. Okay, if there is an unsaturated phospholipid present, unsaturated phospholipid means those phospholipids having a double bond in the fatty acyl chain. So we know very well, if this is a phospholipid molecule, it is the fatty acyl chain, and if it has a double bond, it will be like this. Suppose there is a double bond here in this position, okay, and it is like this. So if it has unsaturated fatty acyl chains, okay, then its fluidity will increase, because you see that if I take another phospholipid molecule, first of all let me erase it. Okay, now if I take another phospholipid molecule having this, okay, so you see that the distance between these two phospholipid molecules is increasing as the unsaturation is increasing due to the kinks that are actually produced by the double bonds present. Okay, so actually the nature of phospholipid determines the fluidity of the membrane. The length of the fatty acyl chain is also important, because as the length decreases, the phospholipid molecules are free to move from one another. Okay, and the fluidity increases. So the more the length increases, the fluidity decreases. So it has an inverse relationship. Importance of membrane fluidity. Membrane fluidity is very important because various types of molecules are there in the membrane, okay, lipid bilayer, which are actually mediating various types of chemical reactions. that are vital for the cell survival. Okay, so if the molecules cannot move, if they cannot interact with each other, then these physiological processes or biochemical processes would be stopped and the cell will die. So membrane fluidity is a very important characteristic of cell membranes, of living cell membranes. Without this, we would not be alive today. So membrane fluidity is a very important topic. You should understand the importance of membrane fluidity. And one more thing I want to tell you is that the freezing point of the lipid molecules or the cell membrane is actually dependent on the phospholipid molecules. Okay, so if the unsaturation increases, that means the number of double bonds in the fatty acid chains increases. Okay, what will happen? The fluidity will increase, so the freezing point will decrease. Okay, and this is a very important thing you have to memorize. Okay, and one more thing, we are talking about diglycerides. We are not talking about diacyl glycerides. Sorry, we are not talking about triacyl glycerides, because one of the 3 hydroxyl groups are attached to a phosphate group in case of phospholipids. Okay, so if I take this image, you will see, let's take this image. Okay, here you can see that one of the hydroxyl groups that were there is attached to a phosphate group and the others are attached to an acyl chain, that is fatty acyl chain, by an ester linkage. Okay, so they are called diacyl glycerides. So they are called diacyl. Why diacyl? Because 2 fatty acyl chains are there. So di means 2 and 2 diacyl. Okay, so this is important. It is not a triacyl. Okay, it is actually a diacyl. So you have to remember this thing very clearly. Now it's all I had to tell you, and thank you very much. Please like, comment and share if you like the video. Make sure you subscribe my channel to get more videos like this. Thank you very much once again.